Hi knitters, welcome to Christina's Knitting Catch-Up, the show where I tell you about my knitting plans and projects. So today I thought I'd start with something that I just finished, and I've been working on this for a couple of episodes. These are just my plain vanilla socks with a fish lips kips heel. These were toe up. I started with 24 stitches and I went up to 60 stitches. As you can see, this is a very sort of trapezoidal kind of toe here, and I'm not convinced that my toe is trapezoidal, so I may next time do a different number of stitches to cast on, and maybe even do left and right feet for the toes, because I think that would make more sense for me anyway. My foot is very asymmetrical, and the heel worked really well. I have my little foot cut out and everything, and that worked very well indeed. I think it could be a little bit long in the foot, but that might be because of the toe shape that I'm not quite happy with. But when I wear them, they feel fine. They slip maybe a little bit, so could be a bit of a bigness issue. And I just kept knitting until I was happy with the length. I could have made them longer, but I'm pretty happy with them. And I used the Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off for the top of the cuff after trying a different method and realizing it wasn't good enough. So they're my socks and I'm really happy with them. Just again, this is the Bendigo Woolen Mills sock yarn in a blue mix. I think they only sell the blue mix yarn actually, but it's just a regular 4-ply merino nylon sock yarn. And that's the only thing I've finished actually. I haven't been able to finish anything else. I've got a lot of things on the go at the moment. But last week my husband and I went to Melbourne to visit, well, firstly to visit my brother and some other family I have there, but also to visit my friend Violet. Hello Violet. And I went and had a crafternoon with her, and we did some knitting, we did some spinning. She's got a spinning wheel and she taught me how to use my drop spindle as well. So let me just grab out some stuff and show you what we did. I've got a big old bag of stuff. You can see what this is, right? This is my drop spindle, and we sort of figured out how to do it, and I made this yarn. This particular merino was extremely hard to draft. I think you might remember a couple of episodes ago I said how I was, having a lot of trouble drafting this, pulling it out. Well, I still found it very hard. So what we did was we pulled it apart into 3 separate strands, which were still thick enough to use, and then we went from that instead. So I made, there's a lot of stuff in here, I'm sorry about this. It's a very long sort of plait, so I'll just put that aside. Here's another plait. Like I said, we pulled apart the big plait and made 3 smaller plaits. But I made this out of this same stuff. I made this on her spinning wheel. The end is a bit bad, but once you get into it, it's pretty good actually. I'm pretty happy with this. It was my very first attempt on a spinning wheel, so it's a bit thick and thin. But I figured that once I spin up the rest of this, if I ever do, it's a bit tedious on a drop spindle. But if I ever do spin this up, I'll ply it together with this, and then I'll have a 3-ply or 2-ply yarn. And once I wash it, then that will be good to go. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the colours actually in this. It looks almost gradient, but it isn't, but it looks it. So we did that together, and that was really fun because I'd never used a spinning wheel before, and it was just so relaxing and lovely. So I might put in a clip right here of Violet teaching me how to spin. Good. It was really fun, and her spinning wheel was just beautiful, and I think I learnt pretty quickly because I did all of this, and it only took me about 20 minutes to do this. So also I did a little practice yarn with some roving that she had, and this is a 2-ply. She plied it for me. She Navajo plied it, which I tried and I just couldn't do it, so I think it might be easier to ply it in a different way for me. But we washed it and you thwack it out on the bench to shock the fibres into submission, and there you go, yarn. I don't know what I'm going to make with this, if anything, because there's really not very much. So we'll see how I go with that. Also, Miss Violet gave me some Angora fibre, which is in this little bag. I haven't actually opened it yet. She had spun half of this. See that she's spun? But she discovered that she's horrendously allergic to it. So she had a bad reaction to spinning Angora, and she just gave it to me and said, get it out of my sight, basically. But it feels very soft and lovely, a pure white colour, just great, just beautiful. So she also gave me my birthday present, which was some yarn she had spun up for me. And this is just a very pretty, what looks like about an 8-ply, or what you might call DK weight. Funny phrase, isn't it? DK weight. What you might call a DK weight yarn, and this is alpaca, I think. Looks like alpaca, doesn't it? Sort of heathered. And she bought the fibre dyed and spun this up for me. So thank you very much, Violet. I'm really excited about making something with this. It feels like there's quite a bit here. So it's heavy. So I'll do that and I'll let you know how it goes. I don't know what I'm making yet, so we'll find out, I guess. You know what? I might make the shawl-collared cow with this, which is a pattern by Alana Dacos, which is just like a little shawl-collared cow, I guess. And she also has some 2-ply. This one is 3-ply and this is 2-ply that she gave me, which is just so sweet. Thank you very much for my birthday present. So let me think. I've got my show notes right here. Socks. Okay. Spinning. Trip to Melbourne. So while we were in Melbourne, I also saw my brother, who lives there now. He moved at the beginning of the year, and I hadn't seen him since he moved. So that was nice to see him, but he said, am I getting a Christmas jumper this year? Now, I knit my brother a Christmas jumper last year, and I'll put in a photo just here. And he adores it. And actually, it was featured on the Ravelry blog, and I got a huge number of likes and comments on that jumper from people. A lot of people wanted me to publish the pattern for it, but I can't do that. It's not my pattern. I mean, I made the colour work chart by myself, but the pattern is actually a Peyton's pattern for a men's jumper, and I just coloured it in, basically. Anyhow, so I made him that jumper last year, and I think I've set a bit of a precedent, and now he expects a Christmas jumper every year. And I said to him, well, are you moving back? I'll make you a jumper if you move back, because I miss him. And he got really upset and said he's not moving back and I should make him a jumper anyway. So I have to make my brother a Christmas jumper, which is a bit annoying because at Christmas here it's really hot. And he wants the jumper to be with a picture of the Tree of Gondor on it, you know, from Lord of the Rings, the Tree of Gondor. He's a bit of a nerd, which is great. I am a nerd too. So he wants the Tree of Gondor on his jumper, and it's just a bit difficult. So I found a chart that I could use, but I'm just a bit busy right now. So I'm thinking if I can make it for his birthday next year instead of Christmas, he won't hate me, maybe. I don't want my brother to hate me. He won't hate me, he'll just... yeah, I don't know. He'll be hurt or something. So anyhow, that was our trip to Melbourne. We had a lovely time. Okay, so on my needles right now, I still have that alpaca jumper that I'm making. I showed you that a while ago. I'm not going to show it again. But I've also got this kit, Knit Your Own Dog. And it's very cute, you know, Labrador, no, Golden Retriever. But I don't really like the loopy bits on him, so I've decided not to do loopy bits and instead call him a Labrador. I can't tell the difference between Labradors and Golden Retrievers, which is terrible because I love dogs, but I just can't tell the difference. So anyway, it's a cute little kit, and it's got a little booklet, and it comes with, you know, stuffing, all the yarn you need, and everything. So I've made most of him. I'm currently knitting his tummy. So this has got a lot of ends, but let's see if you can figure out how it goes. So here he is so far. There's his back legs. So he needs a tummy, sort of gusset so that his tummy works. He's got to have ears. I've done his tail. Here's his tail. So, oh my gosh, where's his head gone? So it's a bit confusing right now because I need to sew him up and everything, but there's his tail. They go out this way, don't they? Yeah. Right. He's happy to see you. So yeah, I've got to do that. That was a Christmas present from a friend this year, which was quite a while ago now, so I should really do that. It's been sort of guilting me this whole time. I've been seeing it there on my mantelpiece thinking I should knit that dog, and then I haven't, so anyhow. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about acquisitions, things that I've bought. So my husband's grandmother gave me for my birthday $100, which was very generous of her and, you know, unnecessary and everything, but that was very sweet. And so I decided to buy some knitting things from loveknitting.com, which I'm sure you know the website if you're a knitter. It's just a fantastic UK-based website where you can buy all the things. So you probably know from last time I told you that my husband bought me the Addy Click set, which I adore. But it doesn't go down to a size below a 3.5mm needle. So, I mean, I have a bunch of needles, but they're pretty crummy. They're like the ones you buy at Woolies. Woolies is Woolworths, not a wool shop. It's just like the grocery shop. So I have a lot of double circular needles that are from Woolies that they're just not the best. I've broken some of them. You know, the joins are pretty gross. So what I did was I bought all of the needle sizes down from 3.25, I guess, millimeters all the way down. So I've got 2, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, 3, 3.25, and then I can go into my click set. And I also bought a bunch of the double pointed needles that I didn't have. So when they came, I thought, well, where am I going to put these? So I actually made myself a case that I'm really pleased with. It's undone at the moment, but I'll show you what it's like on the inside. Here we are. There's my little foot cutout, and just flick up this. I've got my double pointed needles in there, all of them. I didn't have to buy many double pointed needles. I just bought, you know, these ones, which are lovely Addy ones. And I bought all of these lovely Addy circular needles. It's hard to see backward. See, aren't they lovely? Yeah, lovely. And I've got a slot for my gauge measuring ruler and a few crochet hooks and extra little bits in here. So I've got to show you this fabric in the middle here. It's adorbs. Just check this out. Whoops. Isn't that a derpy horse? The print is called Lovely Horse Derpy Charn, and I bought it online from Spoonflower, which is a print your own fabric website, and this person had made all of these prints that mimic the prints from a lot of Japanese brand name dresses. This one is supposed to be like Emily Temple Cute dresses. Very cute. But there's also like angelic pretty dresses and Moitié dresses and all that kind of fabric with this hilarious derpy horse derping up the photos, which is just so cute. But anyhow, this little fabric case, I fold it up, roll it up one end to the other, and then I've got these little ribbons to tie it up with so that it doesn't fall all over the place. So that took me maybe a couple of hours to whip up. I was really happy to do that because I love this fabric. It's a little flannelette fabric, but I couldn't think of anything to use it for, so I did that. And that was thanks to my grandmother-in-law, I suppose, for giving me that lovely birthday present. Also with that money, I bought, it was on special as well, I bought 13 of these balls of wool. It's coming out a lot more blue than it is. It's more of a grey blue. And this is Drops Lima, which is alpaca and wool. And I'm going to make my husband a jumper. So I kind of felt like I want to be in the good books with my husband's grandmother, so I'll use the money to make him a jumper, which I do want to do. It's not like I'm, you know, not enjoying it or anything, but this is quite nice. It's very soft, lovely. And I bought 13 balls of that. And the pattern I'm going to use to make him this jumper is the Drops Twilight jumper. It's a free pattern on, why can't I do this? Free pattern on the Drops website. And it's just a V-neck jumper with moss stitch on the yoke. Very simple. And I'm pretty pleased with that. In. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten something. Should I show you now or later? Later. Then, the weekend before we went to Melbourne, there was a special fibre day at the local market. So I went along with my husband and I said, I really need to get to the Fibrewebs booth, because the Fibrewebs booth, you know, I made my shawl, not this one, unfortunately. I made my shawl with Fibrewebs yarn and I just love their yarn so much. So off I went to the Fibrewebs store and I bought 4 skeins. I gave 1 to Violet. So yeah, and here is what they are. I bought another silk merino sock, which is just 50 silk, 50 merino. And that's a 4-ply. This is the yarn I made my shawl from. So it's a lovely, silky, drapey, soft, lustrous, fantastic yarn. And it's grey with a little bit of purple in it. That's picking up the colour really well. So I love that. Then I picked up their MCN sock, which is merino cashmere nylon. What is it? 80 merino, 10 cashmere, 10 nylon. And that's also a sock weight yarn, but I do not think I will make socks with this. I think that it is too nice. And that's a greyish purple colour. It's not picking up so well on the camera, this one. It's not as saturated as that. It's a bit of a, not heathered. It's just more grey than what is picking up on the screen. And it's just lovely. Let's see if, nope. Oh well. And the last thing I got was this really cool sparkle sock. Look at that. This is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. Stellina rhymes with Christina, sort of. So I thought that would make a really special pair of socks. Since knitting these, I'm really into socks now. I think they're fun. They're not quick, but I enjoy just having something on the go. And I knit actually in the car all the way to Melbourne, and I knit from the sock right up to the heel. I didn't do the heel in the car because that could go bad. But I knit from about here to here just in the car for 8 hours. It wasn't 8 hours, it was more like 6 hours. And that was really fun. You know, I can't knit fast in the car because, you know, it's a bit difficult. I get a bit car sick if I look at my hands. So I have to do it just by feel while looking out the window. So it goes a bit slow. But it was just nice to have something to do with my hands while we were driving. It was a really nice drive. Let me think, what else have I got to show you? One more thing. This is another acquisition. This is another thing that Violet gave me. And I went to her house and she had told me that she had acquired some alpaca fleece, raw alpaca fleece, straight off the animal, not washed, not anything. And I went into her spare room and she had like, how many bags? 1, 2, 3, 7 enormous bags full of fleece, like stuffed full of fleece. And it was just mind-blowing, and she said, please take some. So I did. I got just like a grocery bag full of this fleece. Now we have a suspicion that once washed, this might turn out white. So that's kind of gross. And there's also, I don't want to touch it. There's this lovely dark reddy brown, which is fun. And you can see the bits in it. It's just like straight off the animal. So the plan is to wash it, card it, wind it into little bumps. Is that what they're called? Bumps? And then spin it. So I hope that works out. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me just look at my show notes here. Socks, knit your own dog, spinning, trip to Melbourne, on the needles. Well, that's just my dog. Acquisitions, love knitting, Violet, market. Okay. Podcasts I like. I wanted to talk a bit about podcasts I like because, you know, there are a lot out there and I don't listen to all of them, but the ones I do listen to I really like. So there's a few video podcasts. Firstly, I really like Susan B. Anderson's podcast. I think that she is a friendly, lovely, happy lady, and I just love hearing from her because she is a bundle of joy, and that's wonderful. And she was always knitting socks, and they're really cool. I think that she encouraged me, or inspired me, not encouraged me, she doesn't know who I am. She encouraged me to knit socks, and I'm really happy with them. So I love her a lot. She's great. And she has some wonderful designs as well. She's got some great shawl designs and lots of toy designs as well, and hats and stuff. Then another video podcast I like is Stitched in Sweden. She is a lovely girl, looks about my age probably, who is in Sweden, but she's American, and she just has lovely knitting, and I love her colour choices. They're really lovely, soft hues and beautiful. Third one I like is Mandarines, which is done by a French girl called Melody, and she lives in, where does she live? Lithuania? Something like that. And she also has really nice colour choices. She loves nature and is always talking about flowers and the forest and stuff. So she's really, she's like a wood elf. She's lovely. I also like The Knit Girls, of course, the old classic. It took me a while to get into the Knit Girls, I think because they were talking about a lot of things that I hadn't heard of before, so I felt like I was a bit of an outsider. But after I watched a few episodes, I sort of could understand what they were talking about, and now I really love them. I also watch Rosehip Knits, which is a Swedish lady living in Tasmania. Nice to have an Australian kind of vibe to it. And she has 2 daughters, and I love seeing all of the things she knits for them. And she also dyes yarn, which is very interesting for me because as you know, I did that recently and that was really fun. And lastly, I like The Knitting Expat, which is a British girl living in Bahrain, I think. And she's really interesting too and happy, and I like hearing about her life in Bahrain because it's very interesting and different to what I have here. What else? So they're video podcasts that I like. I also like a couple of audio podcasts, and there's really 2. There's 3. Knitmore Girls I like. Once again, I took a while to get into it because they were talking about a lot of stuff that was new to me and had a lot of kind of in-jokes that I didn't get, but I've listened to quite a few now and I really like them. The second one that I like is Never Not Knitting, which is a short podcast, only about half an hour a month, but it's all very well kind of curated and produced. And I was actually on one of those podcasts. I had a knitting story about my knitted leggings, which Alana kindly put on her podcast, which was really fun to do. It's weird to hear my voice though. I don't like my voice. And the third audio podcast I listen to, and actually my favorite, is Cognitive. And Cognitive is a knitting psychology podcast. I did psychology at university, and I'm mental, so I have a big interest in that field and also knitting. And it's by Dr. Gemma, who is a practicing psychologist and a knitter. And I just think she's witty, humane, and intelligent, and she's fantastic. So I love Cognitive. It's just my favorite. I have it on in the car when I'm driving to work, and she just is so entertaining and happy and just witty. I love her. So those are the podcasts that I really like. Something I really like is Cognitive and Never Not Knitting. And let me think, I think that's about it for today. I'll tell you all about some other stuff another time. But for now, I think that'll do us. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Bye.